And a very good evening to you. Welcome to Easy Friday. This is KBC Channel 1. My name is Shiksha, Arora, of course, with my co-anchor John Kago on this rainy day.
Yep, well, that does not dampen the spirit at all here on Easy Friday. Bringing you comprehensive coverage of the news that's been shaping up. A tug of war, one might say. As the Azimio leader Raila Odinga says there's no turning back on the planned demonstrations that's for Monday and Thursday. President William Ruto, on the other hand, says or asks police to apprehend anyone who breaks the law. How will that turn out? We're looking at that in detail, and of course other news has been shaping up tonight, business a bit later, and of course sports. But first things first, you have the news highlights for tonight.
Absolutely. For now, let's just take a look at the highlights. No one is above the law. President Ruto asks police to ensure rule of law is observed by all, as Azimio insists demos will go on as planned. Death in Lake Victoria. A KRA boat goes under with 8 passengers on board off Muhuru Bay. And united against TB. Government outlines efforts to combat the deadly virus. This is Easy Friday. My name is Shiksha Arora, of course, with my co-anchor John Kago, and tonight's sign language interpreter is Anne Wangeshi. Now, the top story. Azimio One Kenya coalition leader Raila Odinga has maintained that there will be no turning back on the planned demonstrations set for Monday and Thursday.
While speaking in Kisii County, Raila said the proposal to privatize state-owned enterprises gives the opposition more reason to take to the streets to pressure the government to walk back on the said plans.
Addressing mourners at a funeral in Taracha, Kisii Central Sub-County, Azimio One Kenya party leader Raila Odinga said the opposition will thwart attempts to sell state assets without the involvement of the public or parliament.
Upande mwingine wanataka kuuza mashirika ya serikali bila kupitia kwa bunge. Wanataka kuuza mashirika ya serikali na makampuni serikali kwa watu wao wenyewe. Tumesema la. Hapo tumefanya makosa. Tumefanya makosa hapo.
The cabinet earlier this week approved the privatization bill that seeks to sideline parliament in the sale of state assets. Although the bill is set to be considered by parliament, Raila is pessimistic of MP's ability to shoot it down.
Tunajua wabunge utanunua kama wageni. Wabunge wanapigiwa mpewa mnada kama mbuzi katika soko ya mbuzi. Sivyo? Wakenya ndio wako na uwezo. Na katiba yetu inasema katika kifungu ya kwanza, mamlaka katika Jamhuri ya Kenya iko chini ya mkono wa wananchi wa Kenya.
The new legislative proposals appears likely to fuel Azimio's desire to continue staging anti-government protests every Monday and Thursday.
Mzee anapigania watoto wenu. Mzee anawapigania ninyi wenyewe. Kwa hivyo kama yeye anaweza kujikakamua na aende maandamano, sasa je, wewe mbona usiingie kwa maandamano upate haki yako? Kwa hivyo sisi tumesimama na baba kwa sababu kwanza gharama ya maisha iko juu.
The Azimio Brigade is set to hold a second round of street protests on Monday to pressure the government to lower the cost of living and stop the ongoing recruitment of IEBC commissioners. Gishuk Washira, Easy Friday.
Now, moving on to matters health, the government is working on modalities to reduce tuberculosis infections in the country.
Well, Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi, who presided over the commemoration of World TB Day, expressed concerns over the rising cases of infections attributed to TB.
Speaking in Eldoret, Uasin Gishu County, Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi said the government is putting emphasis on early diagnosis and timely treatment of tuberculosis. Mudavadi, who represented President William Ruto at the commemoration of the World TB Day, said that tuberculosis is the fourth leading cause of death in the country.
The burden for TB and HIV and the drug-resistant TB remains high. We have made progress towards reducing the tuberculosis burden in Kenya through robust multi-sectoral partnerships, increased domestic resource allocation for TB programming, rapid adaptation of innovations, and global WHO guidelines recommendations.
Health Cabinet Secretary Susan Nakhumicha said the government is working to make healthcare more affordable by weeding out cartels, who she said are taking advantage of the poor Kenyans.
Anajaribu kushukisha afya chini, lakini kuna wale ambao wanataka kuinua bei ya afya Kenya. Na mimi nitafanya kazi na rais, ninafanya kazi na Prime Cabinet Secretary kuhakikisha ya kwamba afya tunaiweka chini kabisa ili kila mtu akaweze kupata afya.
The acting director at the Center for Respiratory Disease Research at the Kenya Medical Research Institute, Dr. Jane Ongango, is in the meantime calling for mandatory screening for tuberculosis in all public health institutions for anybody presenting a cough to help reduce the spread of the disease.
To avoid missing out on TB diagnosis, they need to screen everybody who has cough of any duration. Previously, they used to just screen people who have cough of at least 2 weeks. But we informed them through our National TB Prevalence Survey that they need to screen anybody who presents with cough.
While noting that KEMRI has made strides in TB treatment, Dr. Rohedi said the treatment period for TB has reduced from 18 to 6 months.
Our target for tuberculosis is to make treatment much easier for the patients who have it.
Judith Akolo, Easy Friday.
Now, as the globe marks World TB Day, we focused on a section of Kenyan population battling with drug addiction, while on the other hand, are TB patients.
Well, the Teens Watch Center, an organization in Ukunda area of the coastal region, is running an effective drug prevention and treatment program for thousands of youths battling the double challenge in the locality.
Arnold Feather with more details.
At least 40 young people who inject drugs are seated under a shade outside the Teens Watch Center building, waiting to be served lunch by the organization. Safia Jatani, a 47-year-old woman, is a recovering drug addict who has battled drug addiction for 19 years.
Nikauliza, kwa nini jamaa juzi alikuwa ni mnono hivi saa hii amekonda? Nikaambiwa ni unga ndio umemkondesha. Na mimi mwenyewe nilikuwa natafuta kitu ya kunisilimisha. Sasa nikajua, basi itakuwa ni chance poa.
In 2018, while still living in the dens, the mother of two started coughing. She went to the hospital several times, but they could not find her illness. After a third visit, an X-ray showed that she was suffering from tuberculosis, and she was immediately placed on a 6-month medication.
Ilibidi nitumie dawa for 6 months. Basi nikamaliza hivi saa hii daktari wananishauri tena niendelee kumeza dawa zingine ya kuzuia TB.
After 6 months under TB medication, Jatani says she went for HIV testing and her worst fears were also confirmed. She was positive. Lucy Kimani, alias Queen Sheba, is a celebrity among Kwale drug addicts. Sheba has never suffered TB before, but she lost the father of one of her kids to the disease.
Ni janga ambapo liliingilia, sikuwa najua ambapo itakuja itani affect maisha yangu. Nilikuwa kwa najua just highness ni kitu yani unatumia na inatoka, lakini kumbe ikakuja ikakuwa disease.
Job Rogers is among the peer educators at Teens Watch Center who supplies the homeless drug addicts who are TB patients with food and medicine every day at their dens. Before he became a peer educator, he was a drug addict for 27 years. The 46-year-old says he also suffered TB when he was only 24 years old.
I got many challenges by that time because in the den there was too much discrimination. So I just managed to live with everything which I faced there.
Caroline Omondi, a programs coordinator at Teens Watch, said since 2018, they have handled about 35 TB cases among their clients and staff members.
This is what we are currently doing to sensitize them and to tell them that TB is there and they really need to take caution.
For the TB clients who are homeless, Teens Watch gives them 2 meals a day and assigns a peer educator to ensure they take their medication as recommended.
The community have embraced treatment for TB. They understand that TB is just an infection that can be treated.
As the world marks this day to end the epidemic, TB remains to be the leading cause of death for many injective drug users. And this is because the addicts do not display the symptoms at an early stage. Arnold Feather for Prime Edition.
Now, President William Ruto has asked police to apprehend anyone who breaks the law.
Well, speaking on day 2 of his tour of KBC County, the president asked police to deal decisively with anyone bent on breaking the law, regardless of their status in society.
The sentiments come ahead of envisaged demos by the opposition next week.
All details of this from our reporter who is in KBC County.
Day 2 of his visit to Gusii land, and President William Ruto continued with his development agenda for the region as he commissioned Gamba-Gekongi Road before joining other leaders at the Thanksgiving ceremony for Education Cabinet Secretary Ezekiel Mochogu. The president and his deputy Rigathi Gachagua using the platform to woo the Gusii community into the government.
Mane mumesema hamwezi kubali. Tunataka kusema asante. Mnataka maandamano ama kusonga mbele? Na tunataka kumwambia huyu mzee ya maandamano, wewe hapana poteza jamii.
Watu wa Abagusi, mumekuwa na vigogo Sagini, Nyachai, Nyamwea, Onyonka na wengine wengi, Ongeri. Hawa wote na hata kigogo mwingine Matiangi, hawa wote wamekuwa vigogo kwa sababu walishirikiana na serikali na walitambua serikali. Agenda ya kutotambua serikali ina balaa.
Your Excellency, I will indulge you kwa biashara ya maendeleo katika eneo letu la Kisii na Nyamira. Mimi ni msemaji wa humo Kisii kila mahali na nitasimama. Kwa hivyo ndugu zangu, mimi niko tayari, nitafanya na nyinyi kazi, nitafanya kazi na rais, tuhakikishe kwamba tumeendelea mbele.
Kisii and Nyamira County split the vote almost 50-50% for the opposition chief Raila Odinga and President William Ruto in the last general poll. And for the second day running, the president took issue with the opposition chief for organizing anti-government demonstrations.
Si hao majamaa walikuwa na nafasi yao. Si miaka mitano tulikuwa na serikali ya handshake. Si mtu yangu ya kitendawili alikuwa na hiyo serikali ya handshake. Si walikuwa na nafasi yao. Si walipanga ile walipanga. Walipanga handshake, wakapanga BBI, wakapanga rege, wakapanga hiyo ingine mpaka unga ikakuwa 230. Ni kweli ama si kweli? Sasa wanatuuliza nini? Si walikuwa na nafasi yao. Sasa wanipatie nafasi nipange na hawa ndugu zangu ambaye wamechaguliwa, tupange vile Kenya itaenda mbele.
Tuko imara, serikali iko shwari, na lengo letu ni kuinua uchumi wa taifa letu.
The president challenging the opposition chief to face him directly and state his misgivings with his administration instead of organizing demonstrations that target private property and life.
Kama uko na maneno, wewe menyana na mimi niko tayari. Na nimemwambia uchaguzi sasa imeisha. Hata usikuje kunipotezea wakati, uchaguzi imeisha. Wewe kama uko na maneno jipange 2027. Wacha mimi nifanye kazi ya wananchi.
In the wake of accusations from the opposition chief over plans to counter his demonstrations and paint them violent, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua and Majority Leader in the National Assembly Kimani Ichung'wah also shared their sentiments.
This country is a country of the rule of law. We have a constitution. We cannot violate the constitution by engaging a leader, engaging in criminal acts into a discussion.
Our constitution guarantees us the right to picket peacefully. But demonstrations that are laden with hooliganism and goons that are looting and destroying our economy, Your Excellency, are ways that can only lead to death and blood.
In his 2-day visit of the region, President William Ruto has commissioned roads and development projects that runs into hundreds of billions of shillings. The head of state will be in Kuria on Saturday before winding up his 3-day tour in the region. Achola Simon, Easy Friday, Kisii County.
Moving on, a search is still underway for 2 administration police officers and a coxswain who were involved in a boat accident at Mugabe Beach in the Lake Victoria region of Migori County.
Well, the boat reported to be the property of the Kenya Revenue Authority is said to have been on patrol along the Kenya-Tanzania border when it encountered a heavy storm.
8 people were on board the ill-fated vessel.
Well, the security personnel in the ill-fated vessel were armed with 3 AK-47 rifles with several rounds of ammunition.
I dispatched my team immediately, who arrived, managed to arrive here by 9. However, by the time they arrived, the boat which had capsized had already been towed out.
We've had a deep reef. Currently, they are away in Migori for medical checkup, so that we can rule out any other medical issue with them. So they are okay. They are quite safe.
Kuna wavuvi wetu ambao wengine hawana life jackets, na ningeomba wale wote ambao wanaingia majini, tafadhali sana wawe na life jackets ambazo zinaweza kuwasaidia wakipata tatizo yoyote huko ziwani, wawe na life jacket ya kuwasaidia.
Now, the High Court has reduced the sentence of 2 suspects in the Garissa terror attack by 15 years.
Now, Hassan Eddin Hassan and Mohammed Abdi Abikar, who were to serve 41 years in jail, each will now be in confinement for 26 years after 2 counts of their charges were quashed.
However, Justice Cecilia Githua upheld the rest of the judgment, ruling that the charge of conspiracy to commit a terror attack was not defective. Take a look.
The 2 convicts, Hassan Eddin Hassan and Mohammed Abdi, had appealed against the sentence, while they were each to serve 41 years in prison, and they succeeded in having their jail term reduced by 15 years. The 2 were previously found guilty and convicted on 152 charges of the 2015 Garissa University attack that left 149 people dead. Justice Cecilia Githua found the prosecution failed to prove beyond reasonable doubt that the 2 were members of the Al-Shabaab terror group, as they did not confess to it, therefore quashing counts 151 and 152, to which they had each been sentenced to serve 15 years. However, the court upheld the rest of the sentence. Meanwhile, the construction of the 13 billion shillings Ndaragu 2 Dam in Gatundu North constituency is hanging in balance after residents expected to cede land to pave way for the construction moved to court, seeking orders to halt the project. The 485 affected landowners have sued National Land Commission, Athi Water Services Board and China Bridge Corporation, the contractor, seeking first to be compensated before moving out.
Lakini watu wakikosewa hapo hakuna cha kusema mtu ni wa pande gani, kwa sababu pia wao ni wa hiyo serikali na walivutia hii serikali ambayo iko, na pia ndio wanasema wakuja wasikizwe vile wanasema, na hivi vile wanasema ni ate wataki damu hapo inataka kuletwa.
Wanakuja tu kutusumbua, wanataka kutufukuza kutoka makao zetu, alafu watupeleke pali pengine, na hatutaki. Tunasema msimamo wetu ni ule ni moja tu, ati hatutaki hiyo dam ijengwe.
Finally, the High Court has suspended a decision of the Communications Authority of Kenya to censure 6 television stations of alleged violation of the media regulations during the coverage of mass protests by Azimio on Monday. Justice John Chigiti stayed the decision following a petition filed by lawyers Lempas Soyinka and Ochel Dudley. Serafina Robi for Easy Friday.
And with that, it's time for us to take our first commercial break. But remember, you can always interact with us on social media. The hashtag is Easy Friday. Find us on at KBC Channel 1, at Shiksha Arora, at John_Kago_M. Tell us where you're watching from. And if you have any feedback on the stories that we're airing tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Still on the way. We are taking actually a fast break. Still on the way, we have the savage netizens. Comes your way every Friday. My culture as well. Business and sports a bit later. We're back in a moment.
It's the biggest pair we have for sale. One weighs 130 pounds, the other 140. It is male ivory, each tusk being over 7 feet in length.
Sound 65. Any advance for sound 65? 8, 75. Sound 75. 80. 80. Sound 80. Any advance for sound 80? 85, 2 places. 840, 45. 845. 845. Any advance to 880? Going for 880 once. 890. Going for 890 once. 890 twice. 895. 895. 895. 895. Going for 895. 9 shillings. 9 shillings. Going for 9 shillings once. 9 shillings twice. And 9 shillings. Going for the third and the last time. Gone to Abdul Jiwadi and Company.
To get Proverbs chapter 3 verse 5 as your skiza tune, dial *811 *967 hash.
Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not in your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your path straight. Proverbs chapter 3 verse 5 to 6.
To get Proverbs chapter 3 verse 5, dial *811 *967 hash. *811 *967 hash.
In the name of Jesus Christ, Mungu anatarajia ukanyange hatua mbele. Wengine wametawaliwa na uchawi, wakati wao umefika. Wewe umenitazama siku ya leo. Neema na kibali cha Bwana kikawe juu ya maisha yako.
Known as the silent killer.
When you have high blood pressure, it just means that the tension within the major blood vessels is high.
It shows no symptoms.
So you need to be completely relaxed in a quiet room, preferably, and then seated on the chair upright with your back supported, okay? And then your feet must be flat on the ground.
But what are some of the factors that can lead to high blood pressure?
Abnormalities in the formation of some of the major blood vessels. Some hormonal disorders also lead to hypertension.
The place of diet and exercise.
Reduced saturated fats, but more of what we call unsaturated fats, which are found in things like nuts, olive oil, avocados, okay? So those ones have healthy fats.
I told you nobody paid me. I tried to convince them, but nobody wanted to be convinced.
Okay then, where are the other sheets? Ziko wapi?
Kwani unasikia na makwapa ama unasikia na wapi? Say I told you Mr. Flitty took it.
Sikia, my friend, you will pay me, Utanilipo nasikia?
Basi wacha tufanye hivi. 50-50. Okay. Okay, sawa, haina shida. Okay, and can you take a photo? My phone doesn't have a good camera. Okay, then let me just do this. Let me take it and I'll copy on a piece of paper and I. Okay, faster.
That's the end of our drama movie.
Nimesahau kucheza Loto Moto. Usisahau kucheza Loto Moto. Shinda milioni 2 kila siku kwenye M-Pesa. Chagua lipa na M-Pesa. Paybill number 757070. Account number andika neno Loto. Kisha weka star na nambari yako ya simu. Weka kiwango chochote cha pesa kuanzia shilingi 50 hadi 2000.
Aulali.
Lipa kisha subiri draw. Welala. Nitakutimizia ndoto zako. Milioni 2 usiamini. Ujumbe huu umeidhinishwa na BCLB.
Welcome back to Easy Friday. Now, Kago, as much as we really prayed for the rains, I feel like they are back as much as they're a blessing. But, you know, sometimes I guess the situation in Nairobi when it comes to drainage, it doesn't favor a lot of people, especially those living in Eastleigh. And that's exactly what the situation is right now, as streets in Nairobi have witnessed flooding following the ongoing heavy rains.
And you rightly said it. Eastleigh was mostly hit with residents there faulting the authorities for failing to work on the drainage systems when the weather was favorable.
This is Eastleigh's Jom Street near Juja Road last evening. The roads are heavily flooded following a heavy downpour that also affected movement. With the now drainage system flooded, a major risk was at the offing, as evidenced by this young man who fell into a trench. A nearby petrol station also suffered the wrath of the flooding. Residents here blaming the flooding challenge on poor drainage.
Kulingana na vile drainage nayo imefungana, hata sahi kuna mwenzetu nimeacha pale, tumetoa pale nyuma kama alikuwa amekwama kwa maji.
Sasa hii mvua ikizidi kunyesha, maybe hii barabara ifungwe. Surely.
Tena kumenyesha, maji imefika hadi hapa. Tujauza kitu yoyote. Alafu pia kuna mboga zetu zimeharibika, joto kuuza. Tukijafanya kazi leo pia ndio kumenyesha kidogo. Tukatengenezewa hapa drainage inaweza tusaidia. Juu maji ukinyesha hapa hakuna drainage.
In Elgeyo Marakwet, motorists plying the Eton Kabarnet Road were last night left stranded after mudslides blocked the road.
Mvua ikianza kunyesha, ni heli watu wawe wamechukua tahadhari kabla janga halijawafikia.
Ile mchanga ilikuwa imeanguka, imefunga barabara tushafungua na saa hizi magari yanaweza kupita.
The Kenya National Highways Authority has issued an alert to the general public plying the Wajir Mandera Road that the road has been cut off by floods in Kotulo area as well as the Tarbaj. Members of the public have also been advised to exercise caution and avoid traveling at night, driving on off-road pathways or driving in moving water to avoid potential accidents and injuries. Jacqueline Masharia for Easy Friday.
We do hope that the situation is contained and the drainage system is worked on.
All right, now let's shift gears now and look at my culture tonight. We are focusing on the Kamba community. Now, traditionally, music and dance played and continue to play an integral part of the culture of the Kamba community.
Now, this week on My Culture, we focused on Kilume, a sacred cultural dance for socio-cultural purposes with some therapeutic advantages, but restricted to the elders, both men and women.
Machakos, a group has converged to perform a Kamba traditional dance dubbed Kilume. Kilume was a spiritual dance performed by the medicine men or women. In the past, the dance was performed inside an open hut. For one to transition into being a medicine man or woman, various traditions were followed, including slaughtering a bull, performing some rituals, among others. Kilume was performed by old men and women. Men were delegated to play the drum while the women danced. Musical instruments used during the dance included the drum and beaded necklaces with aluminum bells to achieve desired rhythm. The groups have their own special Kilume drums, which differ from the ordinary drums used generally by the young people. It was believed that the dance appeased the spirits, causing the troublesome spirit to leave. Kilume was performed by people who had prophetic powers. During performing, some people get possessed for almost 1 hour, while at the stage, the possessed person demands something such as milk, beer, meat, even fire. Whatever they demanded was to be obliged. If the demands are not met, the medicine man or woman may fall sick or remain in that state for a while. There was a requirement for individuals who danced Kilume. They were not supposed to go to church. As an individual associated with Kilume, it is very difficult to involve oneself with the church. However, one can be involved with performing arts. The Kilume song and dance moment is therapeutic during times of individual or communal challenges. Kilume is performed during times of sorrow such as lack of rains, drought and famine, during social occasions or times of joy such as harvesting, planting and initiation of medicine people, and as a means of protection, especially after the death of a person and after the birth of an illegitimate child. Jackie Wambiru, My Culture.
Kago, can you do that dance? Maybe when you're older.
Probably. That's why it's for older men.
Yeah. I didn't say you were old, see?
Well, pun intended, I guess.
Moving on. Now, cyber surfers had a field day this week after the opposition made good their threats to stage street demos.
Well, the keyboard warriors with their untamed creativity and itchy fingers would not let the savage netizens have a break, even a commercial one.
Absolutely. Take a look.
So this week, savage netizens, you decided that peace will not be your portion and you took it a notch higher. Without further ado, let's interact with this week's content. Holidays may be fancied for netizens, but believe me when I say a day of utter chaos completely subdues the holiday for the savage netizens who would give anything to have hot content. This week, social media realms were literally lit after some Kenyans decided to partake in demonstrations called for by the opposition leader. Mima, highlighting a picture of men being dispersed by tear gas, tweeted, "Hii ndio photoshoot fiti ya wanaume, si ati kwenda studio kukalia stool." Mimlord, explaining his story, tweeted how he would describe the maandamanos and captioned, "Me on a Tuesday after attending all maandamano meetings."
The bullet missed me in an inch. But I'm checking you can get it.
Now, this man already making a victory lap within town carrying Tomboya Street banner gained lots of traction online because the location the street was being relocated to was yet to be known. Baby Dodge tweeted, "Nasikia Tomboya Street has been transferred to a known location." Anyway, the banner finally made its way to this lady. Mima wrote, "Kumbe ilikuwa gift." Wow, what a love story. In the middle of all these chaotic moments, the officers engaged in the battle of push and pull may have terribly lost some rounds to the unforgiving netizens who would definitely glorify their win. Edwin Sifuna would not be left behind either after he got involved in a tango with Bwana OCS who allegedly tear-gassed him. Eriko, commenting on the matter, tweeted, "Mambo imechemka." But I really salute the journalists caught at the forefront of all the engagements just so they could capture these magical moments. Among the moments captured being this noble officer helping a schoolgirl make it to school or home safely.
Makofi.
Russell's tweeted, "Get him promoted immediately." Also, the highlight of the Monday had to be the mock coffin. What captivated the netizens and cracked their ribs was when the carrier of the mock coffin got arrested.
Don't run! Don't run! Murife! Don't run! Hey! Murife, don't run! Don't run!
Well, we could be curious to find out what transpired after his arrest, but we will leave it to the men in uniform to better handle the matter. But for the netizens, I wouldn't want to end the week without sending some bit of fun your way, because after that Monday, everyone deserves to be in relaxation mood. Well, that's it for us. Catch you next week on Savage Netizens. For Easy Friday, I am Teresa Mutai.
Nimesahau kucheza Loto Moto. Usisahau kucheza Loto Moto. Shinda milioni 2 kila siku kwenye M-Pesa. Chagua lipa na M-Pesa. Paybill number 757070. Account number andika neno Loto. Kisha weka star na nambari yako ya simu. Weka kiwango chochote cha pesa kuanzia shilingi 50 hadi 2000.
Aulali.
Lipa kisha subiri draw. Welala. Nitakutimizia ndoto zako. Milioni 2 usiamini. Ujumbe huu umeidhinishwa na BCLB.
On point kama suti za burale.
Selection moto kila wiki.
Tandale. Atwende geto uko.
Jiunga nasi DJ Leo.
Kona pato la ngata kando ya bomba.
Na DJ D.
Haina life huko utainiona. Baniko huku saa usulize mbona.
This and every Sunday from 2 p.m. No one does it better.
Good morning, beautiful.
Na wewe nani kwanza?
The name's Lawrence.
I am here to see your husband, Mr. Pitt.
There's no tea neither. Why don't you call him?
Then why are you still holding the gate?
No, nasikiza unacheza na boss wako games zingine funny.
Just to remind you, if you came here to snatch someone's husband, Mama Felix will tear you down like a piece of pepper. We need to fire that maid.
You're not even scared I'm going to tell Christine you're having an affair with the husband?
Don't joke with me, Wewe.
I'm about to lose my family. She has evidence.
Kupata maisha kama Skiza tune yako, bonyeza *811*816#.
Maisha ni mafupi, hivyo si vyema kumaliza muda mwingi katika malumbano. Hesabu baraka zako, wathamini rafiki zako na tabasamu ili udumishe amani.
Kupata maisha, bonyeza *811 *816 hash. *811 *816 hash.
Welcome back. I hope you're having an easy Friday. My name is Wairi Mujenga. Now, the cost of electricity has been hiked by at least 22% effective next month. The Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority says those using less than 30 units monthly will see their bills increase from the current 10 shillings per unit to 12 shillings and 22 cents. If you use between 30 and 100 units monthly, you will buy electricity at 16 shillings and 30 cents per unit. This represents a 63% increase. Those using more than 100 units monthly will see their cost increasing from the current 15 shillings and 80 cents per unit to 21 shillings and 97 per unit from next month. The increased cost of electricity are effective for the next 3 years, with IPRA announcing that each year will have a marginal variation in the cost of electricity. We will be giving you more details about the new electricity rates in our subsequent bulletin. Now, moving on to other stories making headlines tonight. The government plans to reform the Mining Act to decriminalize artisanal and small-scale mining in the country. Mining Cabinet Secretary Salim Mvurya says 200 groups already have been identified and the process of legalizing their operations is almost complete. The CS was speaking during a meeting with regional mining officers.
Artisanal and small-scale mining is prevalent in more than 10 counties in Kenya, with Migori, Kakamega and Busia counties having the highest number of miners. Though there are no official statistics, industry experts believe more than 100,000 people depend on the industry for survival. The government estimates that the sector contributes almost 20% of the total earnings from the sector.
So we have already embarked on a process to organize them into cooperative societies, so that then in that process we are able to link them with markets, we are able to link them with capacity building initiatives, we are able also to equip them so that they can refrain from using rudimentary processes in mining. If you go to Migori, for example, you will find thousands of Kenyans doing gold mining. If you go to Taita Taveta, you will find thousands of Kenyans in gemstone sector.
Mining Cabinet Secretary Salim Mvurya says the government has begun a process of streamlining the industry through legal and policy reforms. The government is also in the process of setting up county mining laboratories that will help miners identify areas with mining potentials.
These lab services will also be decentralized in the regions so that confirmation on the quality of minerals can be confirmed on the ground, not necessarily having investors to come at the headquarters.
Speaking during a meeting with 18 regional mining officials, Mvurya has further said the Mining Act, which was reviewed and enacted in 2016, will attract more investors in the sector, increased its contribution to GDP from 1% to 10% by 2030. On mineral value addition, Mvurya said Cabinet has approved a memo on value addition, which will come into force in June this year. The policy seeks to boost value addition in the mining sector. Andrew Kero for East Friday.
Now, Kenya and Ghana are setting up corresponding export warehouses to facilitate direct business-to-business trading. Ghana High Commissioner to Kenya, Damti Bediako, says this will enhance intra-Africa trade through a singular continental payment and settlement scheme.
Africa has a market of 1.2 billion people and a gross domestic product of more than $3 trillion. The Africa Continental Free Trade Area Agreement has been backed as a scheme that would allow seamless cross-border trade throughout Africa. This, however, has been stuck in the planning stage, with only 11 select countries having advanced the agenda through a pilot-guided trade initiative.
It is our hope and expectation that this could be an example for the other countries that now remain at the peripheries to join the others. I believe even though it's a pilot program, we expect that more countries on the continent will participate in the GTI.
He says with Kenya and Ghana being among the first two countries to have signed the Africa Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, it is essential to streamline bilateral ties.
The export houses are actually in the process of being finalized in terms of the locations, in terms of where, so that's something we are basically finalizing.
We will also expect enriched networking between businesses from both countries to identify and establish new mutual collaboration to enhance trade between Kenya and Ghana.
Collaboration in manufacturing and value addition of agricultural produce would ensure the two countries have comparative advantage in markets abroad.
Over the years, I think trade and economic activities between East Africa and West Africa has really been on the low side.
Kenya actually was able to sell part of its first products into the Ghanaian market under the umbrella of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. And at the moment, Ghana is also hosting the headquarters of the African Continental Free Trade Area. So this relationship will be able to grow and grow as we see how we can grow inter-regional trade within the African continent.
Talks have also been initiated to ease export regulations. A Ghanaian business delegation is expected in Nairobi in 2 months for a 3-day business-to-business forum meant to strengthen trade between the two countries. Hibak Said for Easy Friday.
Researchers are calling on the government to increase investment in research and gene editing of crops to increase agricultural production. Head of NEPAD's Center of Excellence in Science, Technology and Innovation, Olelekan Akimbo, says the gene-edited crop adapted well to Kenya's weather condition and are high-yielding.
Kenya spent about 184 billion shillings on food imports between January and September last year. The African Union now says the import bill can be reduced through investments in agriculture research and innovation.
For this on agriculture innovation, we want to advocate for at least 1% of GDP of each country.
Gene editing is one of such innovation that has been backed to produce crops with superior genes that can withstand drought and produce more yields as compared to the conventional crops.
The gene editing is using the information at character level. DNA is character level to improve on what you needed. When there's a part of that character level in the DNA that is not useful and is not giving the information that is required for that plant to produce what you desire.
Scientists say gene editing of a single crop takes only 3 years, sufficient time to commercialize gene-edited crops.
With genetic editing, we are able to do it within 2 to 3 years, and farmers will be able to have a product, which means what we have done is enhanced the time frame that is required for farmers to be able to get the right product.
Kenya is among 10 African countries that have initiated gene editing policy formulation. Benson Druba reporting for Easy Friday.
And that is where we put a cap on tonight's business news. But do not touch that dial. One Daniel Wahome is on the other end with the sports update. My name is Weri Mujenga. Have a great weekend.
Nimesahau kucheza loto moto. Usisahau kucheza Cheza Loto Moto, shinda milioni 2 kila siku. Kwenye M-Pesa, chagua lipa na M-Pesa. Paybill number 757070. Account number, andika neno Loto. Kisha weka star na nambari yako ya simu. Weka kiwango chochote cha pesa kuanzia shilingi 50 hadi 2,000.
Aulali.
Lipa, kisha subiri draw. Welala, nitakutimizia ndoto zako. Milioni 2 usiamini. Ujumbe huu umeidhinishwa na BCLB.
But many parents and guardians feel stuck, they feel helpless, they feel hopeless, and they feel powerless when it comes to deal with teenage behavior, especially teenagers of the 21st century.
So one of the things that we need to appreciate as parents who are parenting teenagers today is that we need to be relevant. We need to raise this teen of today.
We try to give values and all that in the house, but the media is parenting our children. The environment is parenting our children. And so you have parents asking, what do I do?
The other problem is groupings. We have a lot of drugs. We have a lot of insecurities.
Personally, my biggest challenge was communication. That you have a child who has been open, they see that you know everything, mom knows everything, and then when they become teens and preteens, they start questioning.
A very good evening to you. My name is Daniel Wahome and welcome to Easy Friday Sport. Now, World Soccer Governing Body FIFA has lifted the 2-year transfer ban it has imposed on Football Kenya Federation Premier League leaders Gor Mahia. The relief comes after the club paid all the dues owed to former players.
The team had not been able to do any transfers for the past 2 years. FIFA disciplinary committee slapped the ban on Gor Mahia in October 2021 after the club paid to pay Shafik Batambuze, Dixon Abundo, and former coach Steven Polask. The team tried to appeal the decision to the Court of Arbitration for Sport in Switzerland with no success. The relief comes after the Gor management got a green light after clearing all the monies and fines imposed on them by the World Football Governing Body. Gor Mahia will face Vihiga Bullets on Wednesday, the 29th of next week. The team tops the league standings with 42 points after 20 games, while KCB is second with 37 points. Kenya Police is third with 35 points ahead of AFC Leopards on goal difference. Nora Mwangi for Easy Friday.
Commonwealth Super Lightweight Boxing champion Sarah Chieng will fight New Zealand's Gentian Lupi in a WBF Super Lightweight title fight set to be held on the 12th of May in Nairobi. Chieng has been preparing for the fight in Nairobi and is determined to beat Gentian and lift the WBF title. She currently holds the IBO, WBA, CBC and Kenya national titles. She will be going for her 4th world title, all to be defended in Kenya. Sarah intends not to only bag another world title, but also inspire a generation of young people who dream of achieving greatness despite facing all odds. Boxing is a sport that nobody plays, by the way. Now, 150 budding golfers are expected to take part in the 4th leg of the U.S. Kids Golf Spring Local Tour, which will be held tomorrow at the Karen Country Club. After the Karen event, the tour will move to the Windsor Golf Hotel and Country Club on the 2nd of April to the 5th leg, which will take part later.
150 golfers are expected in the fourth leg of the U.S. Kids Golf Spring Local Tour at the Current Country Club. The tour is jointly organized by the U.S. Kids Golf and the Junior Golf Foundation Kenya and sponsored by NCBA Bank as part of its commitment to supporting junior golf development in the region. The tournament will feature junior golfers aged between 5 and 18 years old who will get an opportunity to showcase their skills and compete against their peers in an age-appropriate competition. The event will provide the junior players with an opportunity to qualify for U.S. Kids Golf International tournaments by earning points for priority status. The junior golfers will also be looking to qualify for events such as Regional Invitational and the U.S. Kids Golf Regional Championships to be held later on in the year. The event follows the first 3 legs held at VetLab Sports Club on 12th of February, Current Country Club on 18th of February, and the Royal Nairobi Golf Club that was held on the 5th of March. The 5th leg of the tour will be held at the Windsor Golf Hotel and Country Club on the 2nd of April.
Now moving on, Harry Kane became the all-time England top scorer with 54 goals, scoring in their 2-1 win over Italy in the Euro 2024 qualifiers. Meanwhile, Ghana beat Angola 1-0 in the AFCON qualifiers to top Group E on 7 points.
All-time top scorer after his goal in their 2-1 win over Queen Rooney's record. Meanwhile, Antoine Semenyo scored a late goal as Ghana narrowly beat Angola 1-0 to move 3 points clear at the top of Group E. In other results, Madagascar lost 3-0 at home to Central African Republic. South Sudan beat Congo 2-1. Zambia beat Lesotho 3-1, while Gabon overcame Sudan 1-0.
Surely the stadium explodes.
That's the sport for tonight, and let's expect a lot of action, especially in the Africa Cup Nations qualifiers for Euro 2024 and also South American action. And that is just besides what's happening in the country. My name is Daniel Wahome. Have a good evening. I hand you over to John Kago and Shiksha Arora, who's got the action coming up on Easy Friday.
Right, many thanks Daniel Wahome for that sporting update, and also many thanks indeed for choosing us tonight. Easy Friday is not done. Well, the first part is done, that's why we bring you updated to the news, but the second part is the most interesting. We don't have the spotlight today, yeah?
No spotlight, but music continues as always. Koljax with the latest hits from now until 10:30, after which Disco Funk takes over until 11:30. So all those 60s, 70s, 80s mixes for now. We kick off with some, hits, the current hits, stuff that's trending, the top 40 tracks in Kenya and of course across the world as well. So Koljax has us sorted for that.
It's the Miondoko time. Miondoko time. Yeah?
That's how you do it. All right, see you then.
See you next week. You sit around, so that's all right.
Absolutely.
Good night. So long. Yeah.